Good afternoon. This is Chris Brecher with Brecher Trading 2018, first day of the year. I'm excited about a brand new year of trading in here. Woo! Last Friday was a heck of a day with the ledges that all broke in the last hour. Pretty exciting in there. So today what I'm going to be doing is going over my crazy ideas for 2018. I sent that to all my email subscribers, and it was more predictions to stimulate debate and lively conversation. They weren't just verbatim trades to go and short Apple on Tuesday morning, but I accompanied charts just so you'd sort of get an idea of what I was thinking. But a lot of people wanted me to expound on it, so I thought my swing trade video for today would go over that. To let you know, this is the last swing trade video that's going to be free. You'll still get free Friday videos that I'm going to be sending to email subscribers, but the rest of it's going to be on the paid site, which should be out this week. To let you know, next week, one of my favorite things in the world, going over IPOs. We're actually, let's see if I could show you in here. This is just tantalizing what I'm going to show. IPO lockup expirations, one of my favorite ways to short stocks, and I will be showing you how to do it. My best trade last year was putting into short Twilio within a half a point of the top. You might say, oh, that's bull. Go in to Investors Daily and go see the article I wrote that just was incredibly lucky. It was within a half a point of the top of when the article came out. It was pretty cool. So I'll be going over those next week on the swing trade video. You need to sign up for the site to get that. So just to let you know. So when is the site coming? Very soon. Brecher Trading. This is what it's going to look like in here. Log in, subscribe now. We added the contact us button right here. There's me without a Photoshop picture that showed me looking like I should be in high school. What's the biggest thing? Experience matters, because I've done it 37 years. Went and forked out the money to have a really good video explaining why you should go to our site. These are all the things you're getting, but before you do it like this, I'll make it easy on you. That is once you're logged in. It's still a staging page. It's not ready for prime time, but you're going to get the forum, the videos, and let me just show you what you'll get. This is the first time anybody's seen this. Special event, sort of rudimentary, but I'll be putting in here like Ask Me Anything days, Saturday events for premium subscribers. Morning ideas, look how slick this is. That's what I'm talking about. Chat, very exciting that we're going to be using Zoom at first, but I found a way to embed it in the site where you can go right to it. Makes it much easier. Then you have the chat room replays that day. I'm not including the other days because usually all someone wants to see, they're an hour apiece, is they want to see that days. Look at the videos. This is pretty slick in here. Right here, you got learning videos, nightly videos, swing trade videos. I mean, is that cool or what? Forum, I'm not particularly thrilled with the layout, and this is going to be a work in progress, but this is a wonderful way to go in here and just go in here and communicate with each other, other subscribers, or with me if you need to ask me market-related questions. You do it on the forum. I'm going to make it even more user-friendly. So it's still a work in progress, so definitely keep that in mind. So I just wanted to show you what you'll be getting in here. When you go back, you'll see that for all this, $97 a month, much cheaper than you're used to from me. But at first, there are going to be some hiccups, and that's why it's cheaper. That includes the real-time chat, at least 2 hours every day. It also includes the special events. Basic, without the chat and the special events, $79 a month. The $97, like I said, it's not always going to be $97, but it is right now. So let's go in to what I was talking about in here about my far-out predictions. Now, I'm not Mr. Perfect and slick when it comes to Word documents or PowerPoint documents, but I think content is more important, and so just deal that it doesn't look like it was done by, some famous Madison Avenue marketing firm in here. The idea was I did my predictions for 2018, and I'll go one by one. I'm not just going to show you the chart. I'll try to show you my reasoning. This brought out the most hate mails I've ever had on Stock Twitch. There's only 4 areas that are just will generate an incredible amount of pro and con, so to speak. One of them is talking about politics, which our site is not about. It will not get in there. Number 2 is talking about Tesla. 3, Apple. 4, Bitcoin. Well, Apple was really interesting to see how many people got mad at this kind of idea. So I'm going to just show you, this was the first one about Apple breaking the big uptrend line. I want you to realize, and I'm going to zoom out of here, don't think I'm Mr. Perma Bear. There were people on other sites that you well know that were bearish on Apple under 100. I was really bullish, and why? Because at the time, it yielded 3%. It was great. You go and buy stock, sell calls, collect the dividend, and if you get called away, it's still a great return. And it worked wonderfully. That was back here, way back here before the election. I liked Apple. Now's a different situation. I'll tell you a couple of reasons why I think this way. 1, forget about price-earnings ratio and all that. Apple is a victim of its own success. Don't forget, it's a law of large numbers. It's not going to have the highest growth rate because it's so huge already. I know their services revenue is increasing. So is Google, so is Amazon's. But I want you to see this in here of it. I think it personally comes down to lack of innovation. Apple is starting to go the way of IBM. IBM brings in a ton of money, but they bought back their own stock forever and didn't innovate. And the stock, ever since Warren Buffett was in it, went straight down. He's finally out of it. Now it could go up, and we'll get into IBM in a minute in here. Apple bought back a ton of stock. Let me just tell you, I had a problem with my MacBook Pro. I love Apple products, don't get me wrong. I have a 2013 MacBook Pro. It's had a logic board replaced 3 times. The fourth time I went in to have it replaced, they're finally like, you forked out so much money, let's give you a free one. They just gave me a 2017 MacBook Pro. It's $3,000. The problem is it's just not that innovative. I just can't conceive of the cost for $3,000. Is it a wonderful machine? Absolutely, but the competition is catching up with them. So I just keep that in mind. That doesn't mean I don't like the stock. The company. I like the company. I just think that they have been buying back stock at the cost of lower innovation, and everybody's catching up. But forget that for now. I'm going to show you 2 charts of Apple. Let me put them up here. And I want to show you what I think could happen in Apple. Now, first is I want you to realize I think the market is in Never Never Land, could have a correction. That's number 1. Number 2, take Apple over here, and I'm going to take it on a daily chart and a 4-hour chart. I'm just going on technical. You can bash me all you want on what you think of Apple, but I'm watching this bearish wedge for me. That's all I'm watching. The other thing I'm watching in Apple is this trend line right there. Now, obviously, I didn't draw that totally straight. Maybe I shouldn't be driving, but no, all kidding aside, I'm just showing you at the line that I'm looking at in there. There are a bunch of spots to look at Apple where it could go. I look at this trend line right there, 165. It has support. That's the line of the sand. That's going to be the first stop in there. So what I think is Apple is going to do this. It's going to break this thing on the right. It's going to go down and test the 164, 165 level like you see in here. And then it's going to work off the oversold condition by staying in this area. See on the upper left? On the left chart. And then it's going to break this trend line, and it's going to have an air hole first to 155, and they usually always overshoot, and they'll go between 145 and 155. That's what I think is going to happen. You have to understand. Somebody asked about PE. GM had a PE of 4 in the 80s. I was there. I saw it. It was a lack of growth. PE is about earnings growth, not about how great the company is. If the earnings don't go crazy, then it's not. If it's not growing at 20%, then it's not going to have a 20 PE. So just keep that in mind. So that's what I wanted to show you in Apple. As you see on the right, I know there's support here, but just keep in mind how quickly it went up here. So it could definitely have a panic all the way to here. Just keep that in mind. That's just one of my ideas in here. Don't hate me for it. It's just an idea. So let's go to the next one in here of what I'm seeing in here. Let me get it in front of me. Aha. Right here. Sorry about that. I had erased it. Bitcoin goes down, testing the 6,000 breakout level. Now, the thing about Bitcoin that's incredibly interesting is that whether you think it's a bubble or not, really when you get down to it, when Bitcoin goes up too much, then everybody's going to go to alternative cryptocurrencies. The idea in here is Bitcoin was, to me, a flight to quality that, like I said last week, is instead of putting your money in a bank vault in an unstable country, you're going to go put it on a flash drive and have your Bitcoin and or Coinbase, put it on Coinbase and go wherever you want. That was fine when it was 1,000. The problem is now at 18,000, just go and get an alternative cryptocurrency, because really, to me, even though they say like Ripple and all these are different, really, if you try to exchange it in commerce, if one of them is so overpriced, you're putting yourself at a lot of risk, and everybody knows that. So when I look at Bitcoin, that's the fundamental theory for it. But let me show you, and because Bitcoin has only been trading for a couple of weeks, is you can't really tell on this chart, so you got to go to GBTC. And to me, that's what a panic top looks like. And that's the big old reversal. Do I think it could have one more test to the high? Absolutely. Most bubbles have a test to the high. We're extremely oversold in here. But after that, I wouldn't be surprised to see this have a little pop up to here. I'm not sure of that. I mean, this could be it that it already popped. But this could go all the way down for where it broke out. How does heck does that correspond to Bitcoin? Because if you go to TradingView, where it has more a long-term Bitcoin kind of thing, and let me log into Bitcoin to TradingView, you'll see what I'm talking about in here as clear as day. I'm going to go to Bitcoin. Unfortunately, my TradingView is stuck. There you go. And see, this shows you when something goes up really quick, it can go down really quick because there aren't layers of support. So where's the support? Where it broke out. That's where I came out with the 6,000. There's another thing you have to understand in here that a lot of people got mad at me for this kind of idea, but it's true. Bitcoin is the only product that you can short. So what happens? People short Bitcoin and buy Ripple. They short Bitcoin and they buy Ethereum. That's exactly what happened. They shorted this against the other ones. It's the only one you can short, and it worked. And this could go on for a long time of shorting this and buying whichever one hasn't gone up yet. I mean, look at some of these. I changed this, and I started a cryptocurrency one in here. And look at these charts. What do you see? Most of them have had big rallies after Bitcoin was shortable. I find that absolutely fascinating in here. Huge rallies. Do you realize that Ripple was a penny earlier this year? I find that amazing. Just amazing that it looks to me like it was 10 cents, but close enough. I mean, huge percentage move, but people were shorting Bitcoin, buying the cheaper ones, because if you're going to try to exchange a product, you want the cheapest one. That's just the way it is. At least that's how I look at it. So I hope that makes sense of what I was seeing in there. The other thing in here, let's get it back up here so you see it. PANW or Netflix gets taken over. I want you to realize that when I've seen PANW or Netflix, Palo Alto Networks is really a good old company. Netflix is more the fear of missing out. And I'm going to show you two charts real quick of these stocks. Why would I even think this? Repatriation. These companies are not going to sit there and just give tons of raises and stuff. They might give some, and I'm not going to get into politics. I'm just saying if this is anything like the last time there was a tax holiday, you got a rash of buybacks and you got a rash of takeovers because a company's first objective is to increase the price of their company's stock. I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody scoop up Netflix with all their extra cash. Should they have done it 3 years ago? Absolutely. Is PANW overpriced? Really, it's not. I mean, it's $56 cheaper than where it was in the middle of October of 2015. That's why I think this could be one of the companies to get bought out. Netflix, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody like Apple buy Netflix, finally give up and say, you know, we're not growing. We got to get into something like that. Automatically gain a tremendous amount of content. So I'm going to be watching option activity in both, and I think it's going to be very important. I got to tell you, from just a chart point of view, I think PANW is the one that looks the best. But watch the call activity. Options precede price. If you see unusual call activity, then you can look into really getting in this. In fact, Netflix started to have some last week. It was after my crazy predictions. I'm wondering if I started it. I'm just kidding. I'm not. That's not true. But I definitely did put it out. The other one, unfortunately, too many people are agreeing with me on this one, that the bond market completely falls apart, breaking the monthly uptrend and fulfilling the weekly bear flag objective. Now, this goes on a lot of what I said with this one. I'm going to go to the very bottom one. The dollar. With all the repatriation that's coming in, people have to convert. Let's say Apple had their money over in Italy and in lira. They have to convert to dollars. There should have been a massive rally of the dollar. Instead, the dollar has gone down, not up. And I think that's because inflation is starting to come in. And because of that, go back up here, that could really affect the bond market. This also goes with the next one about crude oil having a big old Stewie pattern in here. If crude oil goes up and gold and silver and copper continue to go up, it's going to hurt the bond market. Let me show you the bond market on a longer term chart. And go into here, and I'm going to make it two big old charts for you. I just think it's a lot easier to see two big old charts. Here's the bonds on the left, bonds on the right. I'm going to show you four charts. Monthly, weekly, and then we'll get to the daily and hourly. As you see, this has been a massive rally, believe it or not, since most people were in college. In fact, 17 years, some of the traders out there, since they've been in diapers. The bond market's just gone up forever. In fact, if you go back, the bond market has gone up ever since I started in the business. Well, I started in 1980, but 1982, the big rally in the stock market was preceded by a massive rally in the bond market, and it's kept on going. So the idea is it doesn't mean you have to go all the way down to here. But look at this little head and shoulders action here. If that breaks, that's a 25-point move at the minimum. In fact, it's really about 31 points. That gets you down to test the levels down here. Even lower, really at the very lower rung, about 127, which would get you down to the support in this area. If you see inflation rear its head, nobody's really prepared for inflation. Then Barron's, of course, has to mention over the weekend. But I think you have to watch that. How about a daily and an hourly? Is there anything to see here? Well, I think you see that on an hourly, it just isn't time yet on the far right. On the daily, I think you can see what happens if it breaks this congestion area. It could go down by that amount, and that's what I'm going to be watching in here. The next thing I want to show you is crude oil. That was one of my ideas. And I want you to see in here that crude oil on a weekly chart looks pretty constructive. Does it make sense to me? No. But, you know, the bottom was right when Gartman said it would never hit 50 again, or 40, I think he said. But look at this chart. Whether you want to admit it or not, whether I want to admit it or not, this sure looks like a Stewie pattern to me. Stewie pattern, because it looks like Family Guy, Stewie on Family Guy when I highlight it. But if it doesn't hold, if it stays above here, it could go up by that amount. That's 28 to 53. Figure that out. That's 25 points. 25 points gets you that. Yep. That area here. Does that area look familiar? Look at the resistance right here. That would get you the first line of resistance. 78 would kill the bond market. Just keep that in mind on how that works in there. So that's what I wanted to show you on that. That's why I thought crude oil could go up in here. Like I said, I already showed you the dollar, and that you could even see it on here. You could do DX. What is it? Well, the easiest way for me is I use FinViz. I just don't like on how it's done on Thinkorswim. And when you go to the dollar, and I'm going to show you a big old chart on FinViz of the dollar, and you look at the weekly chart, you can't tell anything on a daily right here. I know it looks like it's testing the low and on there, but go to a weekly chart in here. It's fascinating. And realize what I'm looking at. Now you see why I came up with that idea in the first place. Look what happens if it doesn't hold here. There's no support till at the minimum 85. And they always overshoot. I wouldn't be surprised to see it go to the lower support. The only way that's going to happen when people are repatriating their money is inflation. And that's why I think that could happen with that. So, you know, I hope this makes sense. All these ideas I have for you. And, you know, I'm very excited to show you all these. The last one, and I got to show you this. There are two of them because I don't want to keep you on forever on here. One of them is the DAX. And I'll do all these really quick. DAXY. Look at that right there. Doesn't hold there, it goes right to there. That's not that outrageous. That would break a trend line dating back for a year and a half right there. Get you down to the lower rung. If it doesn't hold 12,000, it could go all the way to 10,500. That's a neat one in here. Couple more in here I want to show you. And I'll do these on Thinkorswim. It's just much easier. Roku. I'm going to be going over this next week on the IPO lockup expiration, insider lockup expiration on the swing trade video next week. But Roku could go the way of Twilio. Now, I'm not saying it's going to yet, but the insider lockup expiration is in about 3 months. It's usually about 3 to 4 months that people anticipate insiders dumping and they start to hit the stock. Notice something on an hourly chart. I shouldn't be giving you little recommendations, but look at that. If that doesn't hold, it's going right to the mid-40s and then to 40. Why am I so excited about Roku? Very similar to Twilio. Twilio, not right here. Go and put it on a weekly chart. That's right. Insider lockup expiration wasn't right there. That's when people started getting scared about the insider lockup expiration. And it's gone down forever in there. So just to keep that in mind. The other thing I want to show you in here, and two last ones for you. IBM. IBM has been a turkey for the reasons I told you. Buying back stock, not innovating. But what do cryptocurrencies, how do you mine them? You got to have computing power. That's why NVIDIA went up so far. Well, guess what? Who makes mainframes? IBM. I think that this could get crypto attached to it. And this stock, now that Warren Buffett, the overhang of him is over, this stock could easily go back to 180 and maybe get above 180 to the 200 level. Last one I want to show you, and this is a goodie in here. Let me take two charts. I just want to show you because to me it's fascinating, and I hope this isn't too long a video, but for free I think you can withstand it. This is the SPX. I was going to do like the ad that used to, one of my favorite visuals of an ad, a scare tactic ad, was this is your brain. And then they had the eggs and they scramble them up and say, this is your brain on drugs. And they show the yolks all scrambled. Well, this is the SPX. This to me is like the SPX on drugs. Holy cow, that's just straight up. It can't stay that way. But how do those type of things usually end? They usually end with a crescendo to the upside. Look at these two charts here. Now, these are monthly and weekly on the SPX. Now look at GBTC just on a daily. That's right. Weekly, daily. You have the crescendo, and that's usually it when everybody gets in at the top. Go and revisit the SPX again. And look at this right here. Monthly, weekly. How do these usually end? By having a big old spike up, reversing that day or that week, and that's usually it. That's how they end. In fact, you can see over here on the far left that even the monthly charts usually at a bottom have that reversal candle. So just keep that in mind. I think you're going to see a giant reversal candle because this has been such a giant bull market. So I hope this helps. Like I said, 26 minutes. I hope you don't mind being with me that long. But I thought I'd give you some good value and explain why I did all these videos, so these predictions. So I hope everybody's enjoyed it. Stay tuned for Bretcher Trading later in the week. Talk to you later.